Hey, what up, guys? I'm back at Del Monte for round number 3. The first 2 times I shot 89 both times, so I want to do better than that. I played with some pretty fast people out there. It was just a walking foursome, and we played in 3.5 hours walking here at Del Monte, which is pretty quick. So sometimes I'd pick up the ball or, not line up my putt. But today is a story about putting. So let's go out on the course, see how I did, and see if I beat my record of 89.
Alright, first tee shot of the day, 6:30 in the morning. Like I said, it was an early tee time, but everyone in my group played super fast. Carry distance is not going to be good off of the first couple shots, but I'll take it. Second shot just laid it up, but pulled it a little bit to the left. So for some reason, I can't do well on this par 5. Next shot ended up being a little bit short into the right behind the trap, so have a little testy chip. Ended up getting over, which was my main objective, but ended up rolling it well past the hole. So putt from off the green here, and yeah, not the greatest effort there. First putt of the day, didn't really go onto the practice green all that much, and miss it for my comeback for bogey. As you can see, double bogey. So I have Arcos data now giving you kind of the carry distance of my clubs and what club I'm using. Flared out my 2-iron here to the right, almost shanked it. Was able to recover with a nice iron into the green, even though it was kind of a long way. And then I just have this putt that is off the green. Just whack it up there. And not a great read. Didn't think it was going to break right, actually. I thought it was going to go a little bit to the left. So here's my attempt. Low side. At least I rolled it past the hole. Another bogey. Next up, this uphiller par 4. Pretty tough, and the green is actually pretty tough, so you want to be short of the hole when you get up there. End up just topping the crap out of the ball here. Not very good effort, but it's very early in the morning, checking the time on my watch there. Next up, just trying to chip it up. Like I said, I wanted to be below the hole, and I think I thought about that way too much. I ended up chunking it. Chipping it on now. Chipped it, and I chunked it.
Exactly.
So next up, here comes the putt, and I blast it to the right. So a pretty testy one just to save my double, and luckily I made that for the double bogey. Next up, pretty long downhill par 3. Ended up flaring it out to the right, which is pretty rare for me. Yeah, not very good. Have to go over a bunker now for my chip, and just try to save my par here. Ends up going a little bit too long, but I didn't want to be in the trap for my next shot. Putting from off the green, and not a great effort. Putting was struggling today, so end up tapping that in for my bogey. 6 over already, not tracking great to break my 89 record. Next up is short par 4, so I'm just taking my driving iron. Really love that thing, although it didn't carry all that much. It's still in the morning, I'm still trying to wake up. Next up, pretty hard flag position. It's behind the sand trap, and I wish I was more out to the right, and I end up going into the bunker. Taking you on a little bit of journey from far away camera angle. Hit it over the green. Hit it onto the green. And so that was not too bad of a chip. And I end up making this. So, saved my bogey. Gotta love it. Next up, one of the tougher par 3s, 196 yards downhill. Ended up getting there almost to the green, just a little bit short and almost into the trap, but stayed out. Chipping on, not a great effort. Wish I was a little bit closer than this. And then I missed my par putt. So putting. Need to work on my putting here. The greens are actually pretty tough at Del Monte though. Next up, decent length par 4 with a really tough 2-tier green. So hit it up the left side. I just want to get onto the green on the second tier on the left, and I end up pulling it to the left, and I have a pretty tough chip to get onto the green. Come up with a chip on, and I hit it a little bit too hard, and I have a really tough putt here to save my par. And just don't have it in the cards today. Putting. Alright, elevated tee box, so I couldn't bring my push cart up there, so I put my gimbal on the ground for this shot. Flares out to the right. It hit it pretty decent. It really opens up on the right, so no harm. Next is this approach shot, and I just up pulling it to the left, so I have quite a bit of work to do on my up and down, in front of the green. I chip it on, it rolls out further than I would like, and here I'm just praying that it doesn't roll too far. This next putt, trying to save my par, and I just hit it super short. Just, it's not rolling it well with the putter today. So, in for bogey, 10 over already. This is not good. Next up, it's par 5, so just want to hit it into the middle and make my shot playable for my layup on the second. End up taking a wood, flaring out right, not where I wanted to hit it, but it ends up being really, really good, so super lucky there. End up chipping on the green. I just don't want to be long, but then when you do that and you think too much, you end up being short. So, just putting from off the green. Gave it a decent roll. Just tapped that in for my first par of the day. Alright, next up is a short par 4, so I take out the driving iron. Didn't hit it the best, but that's why I take it out. It doesn't really go too far left or right. Just goes a little shorter than anticipated. So my next shot, just my approach into the green, ends up being short again, but I'm off the green to where I can putt it. So here comes my putt. Not the greatest effort, but I'll take it. End up just tapping it in for my par, 10 over. Next up, another short par 4. Anything below 350 yards, I usually take out the driving iron. Unfortunately, this one just caught into the trap on the left. So, approach from within the sand. Actually, don't hit it too terribly, and I think I am finally on a green in regulation. Here's my attempt. And I didn't hit it that hard, but it still went pretty far. And I missed my par putt. So, flat stick is letting me down. Bogey on that hole. Next up is a par 3 with a lot of trouble on the right, so naturally just keep it to the left and short. Thinking about it too much, but now I have a really hard chip that's over the sand trap. Chipping it on the green now. The best as I could do here is just keep it not too far from going off that hill. Comes my par attempt for the save, and I barely miss it. Flat stick is just not doing its best today. Next up is my favorite hole in the course. It's just a par 5 that's just looking over this ravine, and you just hit it out to a pretty open fairway. It's a pretty cool looking hole, and I usually hit the fairway, which is always fun. Next, I just take a 3-wood, or I believe it's a 5-wood. No, it's a 3-wood, and I end up short right of the sand trap. So I have a pretty good approach and close approach to get on in regulation. And like all things, I think I left this a little bit shorter than I'd like. Here comes my birdie attempt. And yeah, just can't get it to roll. Just can't get it to roll in. So, can't complain about a par that's stress-free. Next up, this is probably my least favorite hole. It's a super long par 3, and sometimes there's winds that's playing into it. Try to take my 2-iron off the tee, and I just flare it out and end up going to the sand trap. And I'm not very good at long distance sand trap shots that are like within chipping distance of the green. So I chunk that sand shot, then I hit it too long on the approach, rolled it right by. Here's my putt just to save the bogey. And yeah, just at this point, just trying to limit the damage, get out with the 2-putt, and just take my poison. So, double bogey, 14 over. Trying to hang on here. Next up, 330 yards. This is less than 350. I'm taking out the driving iron. Hit it into the left rough, but I'm not going to complain about that. Hit a really good approach. This is probably the best approach that I hit all day. So I'm on the green in regulation. Pretty stoked. Here comes the putt. Yeah, just not rolling it well, but like I said, stress-free pars are the best pars. Alright, heading into the final stretch here. Finally hit a pretty good drive up the left-hand side. Unfortunately, I ended up going into the bunker, but yeah, that was probably the best drive of the day, even though it didn't land in the fairway. Alright, hit a good second shot here. Just leaks out a little bit to the left, so I have to chip on. Here comes the chip. Land a little just short enough to roll out just a bit. And I'm able to get up and down for the par. So, a little par streak going on here. Next up, I pull this left, and it goes almost to the sand trap on the left like I did last time, but just short of it. So, I'm happy about that. Next up, just laying up with the 5 wood. Goes a little bit more right than I'd like, but I still have a good shot into the green for my third shot. Here comes the approach, and this green is pretty tough. Just because you're on in regulation doesn't really mean anything. It's really wide and it's really long. And yeah, it's extremely elevated. So I tried to take a whack at it and get it up there. End up blasting it by. And the comeback putt is pretty tough too because it's extremely downhill. So yeah, as you can see, overall effort not the greatest there on the putting, but end up picking up a bogey. Last hole here, just wanted to be somewhere in the fairway. Ended up leaking a little bit to the left, and I'm behind some trees. So I'm thinking on this next shot, just try to draw it. But when you try to do something that you're not super familiar with, you end up overdoing it. So I end up pulling it a bit with the draw, and I end up into the sand trap on the left. A little bit more fluffy lie than I'm used to. Just barely get it out. Chip it on, and by now hopefully I have the green somewhat figured out. And I end up getting my bogey. So that's the round. Beat the record.
All right, as you can see, pretty stoked. I beat my record from 89, and now the new record is 88. I really like playing here at Del Monte. I was playing with the fast group. Like I said, we were walking foursome, and we finished it in 3.5 hours. The putting was pretty bad. Just didn't really trust the greens. I was giving them a little bit too much respect like last time. But really enjoyed that round. Great company. So yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed that one. More to come, and I'll see you in the next one.